Hi, AP Media. Bonjour, AP Media.
Hey, David, thanks for giving us your time.
Thank you. I'm excited.
If we could just jump in and start off, how did the idea of Sprayground come about? How did you go from a passion to what is now a global empire?
Well, I would say it started in New York City. I'm from the Bronx. I was always a doodler in school. My mom pretty much forced me to go to art school. She saw something in me. I went to the School of Visual Arts in Manhattan. And then after that, I really had a passion for product design, industrial design, fashion. I grew up with three sisters raising me, showing me their Vogue magazines, when I was a little boy. And after school, I applied to 100 jobs. I didn't settle on anything, except the 101 person, they needed a graphic designer, low pay, but I saw an opportunity with that person to build something. They were very open-minded and they had the entrepreneurial spirit. So I started with them, and after a year, I came up with the idea to go more into fashion. Because we were creating more like wall decor. In other words, that wasn't my passion. I wanted to do something with product and fashion. So I came up with the idea of what if we took this art, instead of putting it on walls and instead of putting it on t-shirts, it's just a flooded market. Maybe put it on backpacks. And why backpacks? Because it really came when I was just looking for a new bag, and it was just a sea of the same thing. It was just a utilitarian product. No one was giving it that edge, that fashion, that art. So the light bulb idea, went off, and then I tried experimenting with some things. I flew overseas. I went to a factory fair, and I had a few designs on a piece of paper, and I needed to find a factory that was going to believe in the dream. Because all these factories want big quantities, and I wanted to make 25 pieces. So I found someone that believed in me, and I had a few designs, and that's how it really started. And also how you sell it. We wanted to sell it to the boutiques, to the stores that featured products in a beautiful way, with some merchandise them with the sneakers and all that. So that's it in a nutshell.
Amazing. And you just touched on that at the end with the sales, and since then you've gone on to collaborate with numerous brands and individuals. How have you managed that? So you're obviously a master in the art of licensing, and how have you managed to maintain your band's irreverence and personality whilst working with some huge names?
Yeah, so I create massive collections. Everything is limited edition and never produced again. And I mean never. If something is an amazing seller and we might get calls for, oh my God, I need more of so-and-so bag. Sorry, no more. And because we are storytellers, we are constantly creating new. That's our thing. We want to create something new and exciting, something that's memorable, something that's collectible. And the first collaboration, you mentioned the licensing collaborations, was with Nickelodeon. And maybe the second year, they saw what we were doing, they contacted us and can you do something cool with SpongeBob? So I'm like, I'm not going to take your traditional style guide, because every licensed company has style guide. This is how the logo should be, this is how the characters should be. And you're kind of stuck with that. I'm like, in order for me to make this work, I need to take SpongeBob and kind of merge him into Sprayground's world. So that's why I was very successful. I put SpongeBob big on the bag and put a big shark mouth on him, which is very untraditional. And good thing that they approved that, because every NBA basketball player wore that bag. It was insane. And then, to keep the relevancy going is who we're going to work with next. How am I going to reinterpret that story? From Rick and Morty and Marvel and Disney. We have a big Disney collaboration. So I have access now to all the characters from even Star Wars. But taking that and not just slapping the character on it. You see that in mass market stores, but really integrate it and make it a true collaboration. There's a lot of challenges with that, because they have to approve it and they might not understand it. And you have to go through hurdles of explaining why this would work this way and why we should try it that way. And then after we get over those hurdles, and sometimes it doesn't work out, and then we have to move on to other things. but with good partners, they understand that, and that's why, in regards to the license collaborations, why that's been successful.
Cool. And with those collaborations, and then now with you operating in so many different countries, do you have like a laboratory or somewhere where you are able to take more risks, for example, initially, and then try other things?
Oh, risks is we wake up every day taking new risks. If we didn't do 5 risks today, then our day was not successful. You know, we're going where not that many have gone before when it comes to product development and creating memorable product. And it's really just making sure our partners are aligned and creating something special.
And how do you manage those conversations with such powerful partners to maintain your own creative freedom and influence?
Is sometimes you have to be willing to walk away if it's not going to be within the ethos of the Sprayground world. Because if it's just going to be a generic thing, I'm not interested in doing that. You know, because I reflect the brand, and also our fans and customers are expecting us to create something so wonderful and magnificent that they've never seen. So I can't just give something generic. Ugh, we don't do that.
Well, I mean, and on that, what would be the most surprising collaboration or maybe conversation that initially you didn't think was going to work, and then something amazing came out of it?
I think something special, and you'll see it on the runway, is with the Frank Lloyd Wright collaboration. Thank God we have a lot of incoming requests for collaborations, but not so much. Like, I don't go out so much to collaborate with some. One was Frank Lloyd Wright. I'm a huge fan of architecture, and years ago they didn't understand how we could work together, and that was fine. They needed to see more of how the two stories can align. And one thing that caught their attention was something that I was working on prior with the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which took 3 years to put together. And they saw, like, okay, if they could do something interesting with the Met, then maybe we should give them a chance to see how we can merge these two ideas together. So then they contacted us after the Met launch, because I created a huge 20-foot pop-up shop within the Met museum store with a huge statue. I love making statues. You'll see in a lot of the pop-ups in the works, I create massive statues. Also just like a thing I like to do. So yeah, so after they saw that, then they gave me a shot. And then the things that I created for them, as you'll see, is something we've never done. Like we pushed ourselves, and we pushed even the factories, because we made 3-dimensional bags. Like, no one knew how to make it. An idea in our brains, we can make it. But then when it comes to making it a physical item, it took maybe 6 months just to get it. But we got it. Yeah, and it's really exciting, that process, and pushing everyone forward to create something that has never been created before.
Wow. And for you, within this, there must have been some challenges professionally and personally. Are there any that stand out as having shaped the way you look at things as a person, as a businessman?
Yeah, in the company, I'm the CEO, but also the chief creative director. And there's not many like me out there. I hope one day there is more, because usually it's either you're that or you're this. So when you run your company from a creative perspective, you could do things a little bit differently, and also you can make quick decisions. You don't have to go through the board and the thing and all these hurdles, right? Because a lot of our partners, that's why things get held up, because they have 20 people that have to say yes, right? One person that says no, then the whole thing doesn't work out. Even though 19 liked it, one didn't get it. So yeah, so with my position, and it took a long time to get to that place, I'm able to move just quicker, and the whole team. That's why when there's an opportunity, we're able to jump on it very quickly and shift where it needs to be shifted. And when there's hurdles in the world or the economy, we're able to quickly move through it.
Wow. Yeah. And I mean, within that, is there any advice that you've received trying to juggle these multiple hats that really stands out to you as having been profound or extremely useful?
You know, it's interesting. We've been doing Fashion Week for a very long time, and everyone was like, "Why are you so calm?" Right? In the beginning years, I thought you had to be stressed out, right? But I'm like, no, it's just a thing. You don't need to be stressed out. And I've been saying a lot, you know, especially to Natalia, that a calm river still gets to its location, right? Everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be okay. You don't need to be stressed out. You can handle your team, and everyone can move smoothly together without that extra stress. It's just made up. You know, everything in the end will work out. You don't have to worry.
But I mean, and that's a wonderful perspective. I think we could all do with taking a lot of that perspective with us. But then outside of fashion, when you're away from this, how do you recharge? What kind of things do you like to do to get perspective back, or to fuel your creativity again?
I think hanging out with my children is really fun. You know, they're so young, and like they have that, you know, everybody has it, that creative spirit. You know, even just seeing a butterfly go by, you know, like when you talk to someone and the butterfly goes by and then they lose their distraction, there's something special in that, you know, that nature capturing someone's attention. And then I love nature, just like sitting by the water. You know, when you try to like problem solve an idea, you kind of are not going to figure it out. If you dwell on it too much, you have to kind of like let your mind like just open up and free, and then the answers come if you just let free. Because sometimes we don't have all the answers. You have to tap into nature and like the higher energy that's out there to receive. I know it's a deep
perspective.
It's deep, but that's the only way to really go like higher, you know, and elevate everything that you're doing.
And I mean, talking about deep perspective, obviously you mentioned that your family are very important to you. How have those responsibilities influenced some of your decisions as a designer, but also, as you mentioned, as a creative director and a CEO?
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, because when you got to get into the creative head, you know, it's you have to find your quiet place, you know, and with family life and this in life, but they I found ways for them to complement it instead of me like, you know, going, you know, like when it's too loud or this or that, you know, when people are playing outside, you know, just to try to find my focus. But yeah, it's a juggling act.
Yeah, I think anyone with family can appreciate that. And finally, you touched on, and I have to mention your collaboration with the Met, and that took such a long time to bring together. What was the toughest part of that? I mean, for so long, trying to bring that to fruition.
Because I tried to explain to them, I want to create a story. If I'm going to put everything I got to it, you know, I could give it to one of my designers and handle it, but I never do anything like that. I'm at the face of it. I'm handling it as a team. We're collectively talking about it and brainstorming. But the biggest challenge, what I said, is like you have 20 people on a board, and one person doesn't understand it, but then everything goes, you know, different. So then I take a step back and like, then, you know, I have to change up the story, or maybe it's not going to work out. Like, we need to do a pop-up. We need to create this story. We need to do something special. And in the end, it was amazing. So many new people came to the museum that would have never gone. Right? We were bringing musicians and rappers and like, whoa, this place is awesome, you know? And it was because of that tenacity over 3 years of like explaining, pushing, and not giving up. And then sometimes you're like, oh, really? And then going forward and advancing, and then home run.
That's not on the question. You want to ask one question not on that?
Okay, freestyle.
Is that right? Just because you were talking then, is that something that's important to you, to bring like fashion and culture to maybe groups of people that don't necessarily see it as something they'd automatically go to?
Yeah, that's why with working with a Boeing or Porsche, you know, Frank Lloyd Wright. Not that many people know that, but I love educating. And then once it clicks, you know, especially with the youth, you know, there's so much distractions. How can I teach them something very new and interesting? And we show them about architecture. Come with me, and I'll show you about architecture.
And when they see it, I would hope they get inspired. And who knows? Everybody wants to be a YouTube star, right? No, there's so many other things you could be. You could be a famous architect. You could be an astronaut. We did a collaboration with Buzz Aldrin. And he don't collaborate with nobody. And he came to the photo shoot. I actually suspended him in the air because he figured out how spaceships can get to Mars very quickly, right? So he's just doodling all day. It's fascinating. And the collection that we did was Mission to Mars. And it was like solar panel bags and these really cool futuristic artistic things. And, something like that, show them about space. So show them that you can be an astronaut. It's possible. Here, this man's an astronaut and we're working with him. Things are attainable. You just have to be decisive and believe if that's what you want to do.
Cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was, sorry to go off, but I just wanted
No, that was good.
No, when you mentioned the Met, I was like, yeah, for real, because that's such a big thing, man. Bringing art, bringing fashion, so especially like with the high fashion. For a lot of people, I think they'd enjoy it. I think they'd love it, but they're like, well, it's not me.
Yeah, show them about Roman architecture, Renaissance art. Like I made a bag. It cost $10,000 just for the molds. Right? We didn't make a lot of it, but it was just so cool that we could pull it up. It was Medusa's head.
Yeah.
And like a silicone rubber with a handle, and then it opens from the top. It's crazy.
I was dreaming before coming to meet. Have you got collaborations with SpaceX? Is this something you're thinking about sending the brand into space?
If you know. So I trademarked the official brand for space travelers.
So,
yeah, because one day we're all going to be geared up and we're going to need luggage to go to space. That's where humankind wants to go, right?
Yeah.
Planet hopping. And you're going to need gear. And we're going to be right by your side.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.